But in your imagination, you're visualizing something so clear, so vivid, so real right now in the present moment. Your world has to meet you there. It has to create that for you. People don't quite understand this, but it's something that will change your life forever. And it's something that I wish I knew a long time ago. And it was something that I figured out that changed my life forever. And I went from rock bottom. I created a prison within my own mind and actually went to prison because of that. I realized that what I'm living in is all being constructed from my own mind. If a tree falls in the wilderness somewhere and nothing is there to hear it, it actually doesn't make a sound. And if your world is not being observed by something, it doesn't actually exist. Your world is a simulation, and it's all being created from within you, in your own imagination. And Neville Goddard spoke about this. Neville Goddard was the key to this. He understood this. And as you begin to start to know, which I'm going to explain to you, and you begin to unlock this power that you have within you right now, of your imagination, and your inner dialogue, and your concept of yourself, and your feeling states. Like Neville Goddard said, feeling is what? The secret. That's how your world is created. That's how the simulation is manipulated. And it doesn't matter what you're going through right now. I've been through some of the worst possible things you could imagine in my life. And now I'm experiencing one of the best lives that anyone could ever experience. And it happened because I realized what I'm telling you now, that my world is a simulation. It's all coming from within me. But the key to this, number one, is mental clarity. It's developing your attention to be able to focus on one thing for long periods of time without being distracted by the things that have happened to you in the past, your regrets, the things that you feel sorry about, the things that you may or may not have to do in the future, all these different things. And mental clarity is also a big part of your current concept of self. Your confidence, your belief in yourself, knowing that you are better than that. Okay, mental clarity is the first factor. Once you design your mind correctly and you gain control of your attention and you create that discipline to be able to control your attention, no matter what's happening around you, no matter what happened to you in the past, or whatever your family members are doing, or whatever your friends are doing, whatever they did do to you, or whatever you've lost somewhere along the line or been scammed out of, or things that have stolen from you. All of this was created by you. And when you develop mental clarity, that's when all the doors open up. And that's number one. Number two is mental imagery. Because once you develop number one, which is mental clarity, you can control your attention. Now you can start manipulating your own imagination to start creating imaginal acts and visualizing the things that you want to happen in your future, because that is what creates feeling states, okay? And when you start to control your attention, no matter what's happening, even if you close your eyes, you lay in bed, or you sit up on a couch, on your recliner, or just an easy chair of some kind, you're relaxing. You close your eyes, you start to visualize, okay? Attention needs to be developed in order for that to happen. And when you can visualize something correctly, with all of the senses included, as if it's actually happening to you within the simulation, the subconscious mind, which controls voluntary action and shifts you to different realities, doesn't know the difference. When you can visualize an imaginal picture in your mind, with your eyes closed or open if you visualize that way, but in your imagination, you're visualizing something so clear, so vivid, so real right now in the present moment. Your world has to meet you there. It has to create that for you, okay? It has to. But why most people give up on visualization is because they can't control their attention, which is the first point, which is mental clarity. Developing that muscle of your mind and getting to that next level, that's what creates your skill of visualization. The subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between an actual vivid image in your imagination than the simulation. And that's what's actually controlling and creating your simulation. It creates how you observe your world and how you participate in it. But that's what actually creates it, okay, is the mental images in your mind. And when you develop these skills, you can start to truly, truly visualize and start to change things massively in your life. I don't just say this, I've lived it. And I've coached over 3,500 people that have also created this in themselves and have created massive success. Okay? It's not just something that may or may not happen. This is an actual thing. Okay? This is it. Okay? This is your true calling to master these skills. Okay? And like Neville Goddard said, which is point 3, feeling is the secret. Okay? It's not only the image that you create from your mental clarity and your attention, but it's the feeling that is created from the imaginal picture. You understand what I'm saying? The feeling is the secret. Okay? And when you create an imaginal picture from an event that's already happening to you right now, that is happened or already happened, or currently happen in the present moment, in your imagination with your eyes closed, there's no difference. When you experience something in the simulation, for example, if you were to go somewhere, walk down the street, and somebody pulls their car up to you when you're walking and says, listen, here's a suitcase full of cash, you can have it. It's yours. $100 bills or whatever your native currency is in your country, $1 million in cash. They open it and said, here, this is yours. I don't want this. You can have it. And you open it, you start counting the money. And you take it back home and you start counting the money in your house. How do you feel? You feel like you're a millionaire. That's how you feel. And that's a simulation playing that out in the present moment for you. And you feel that, right? So your world tomorrow, the next week, the next month, the next year is going to be closely correlated with the money that you just received, and you believe that is real. You know it's real. You don't believe it. You know it, that it's real, because it happened to you within the simulation. There's no difference between your imagination if you were to imagine that same thing happening. The subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between you doing something or getting something within the simulation as your own imagination. So when you imagine the same thing happening, someone's pulling up to you and giving you $1 million in cash, and you can create that from the event and create that same feeling. That's the secret. You're now a millionaire, and then you fall asleep as a millionaire, okay? That's the secret. There's no difference between the two, and the subconscious mind feels that as you're going into SATS, as you're going into the drift from your conscious state into the subconscious, and the subconscious feels that feeling, because feeling is the secret, okay? This is the pattern. This is how you create it. Inner dialogue with your attention is creating this imaginal picture in your mind, and then there's a feeling state. Then that feeling state is impressed into the subconscious, whether it happens within the simulation or it's happening in your own imagination. It has to create it. Something has to meet you there within the simulation, and you're transferred to some world, some reality where that has to happen. And maybe you got to go through quite a few things in order for that to happen, but it's going to happen if you create it from that event. And that is the magic, and that's the simulation system. That's it. If you can master these abilities, and anyone can do this. But the key to this is the first point, okay? We have 1, 2, and 3. All right? Attention, visualization, or mental clarity, mental imagery, feeling, and then it's programmed into the subconscious. Then your reality shifts. Then you're living in the reality in which you want to live in, okay? That's how it works. But do you have the ability to focus your attention on one thing for long periods of time? If you try to visualize something and you can't see anything, I had this problem. I thought I had aphantasia. I tried to visualize, I couldn't see anything, or I couldn't hold on to a picture or an image in my mind at all. It wasn't some disease. It was because I was hooked on instant gratification. I couldn't control my attention. I was constantly consuming. I didn't even know what creating was. And I tried to visualize, and I thought that maybe there was something wrong with me, what most people experience. Okay? But when you can control your attention and develop it, you will be able to visualize. Okay? I did this through exercises, developing my mind and getting away from instant gratification and going on a dopamine detox. This is what developed my mind. That way I could visualize. I thought I couldn't visualize, but once I learned to control my attention and I had mental clarity from that, I was able to visualize. And the more that I practiced, the better that I got. And these are the keys, because you are living in a simulation, and this is how to control it. These are the keys that you have the ability to create within you. That way you can start changing your life. Because right now, if you don't change anything, your life's already set. You're gonna say something to a guy named John Smith or a girl named Jane Smith 3 days from now, and that's already set. That's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You're gonna say hello to that person. That person's gonna say hello to you. But you have the privilege of changing all of that. You can shift your reality and change your future, and you have the privilege of doing that if you can control your imagination and create a visual image that feels real to you from the event. And it will change everything in your life. And the better you get at this, the more that you can control. You must understand this. But you must start with developing your attention, your mental clarity. That's where it is. Get away from all the instant gratification. All these things that are distracting you, get them out of your life and start doing these exercises and start creating this muscle of your mind to where you can focus in on one thing. And when something distracts you in the simulation, you know how that works and you know what to do. You don't allow those things to take you from your imaginal movie. Okay? You can control your imaginal acts. And nothing can sway you from that. Nothing that happened to you in the past, nothing that's happened to you now, nothing that's going to happen to you in the future, potentially. You can hold your attention in the present moment and hold a mental image and see it very clearly in your mind as if it's happening to you in the simulation right now. And that's the power that you have within yourself. And feeling is a secret, and that's generating this force that's pushed out. This is you pushed out, okay? Everything is you pushed out. And then we can go into new things. We start changing what we consent to being true. We can start revising scenes from the past, re-identifying ourselves, locating what, killed our confidence. Maybe there was some trauma or some abuse that happened to you when you were a child. You can change all that. You don't have to live in these chains or be constrained by this stuff anymore. You can eliminate all of this stuff if you develop these skills. All of it can be changed. You're not hindered by any of this stuff. You can develop and change all of this. Okay? And we've done that. I've done that. Myself, and with 3,500 students that I've trained and coached. So there's no question in my mind whatsoever, even if I didn't coach anyone, I know myself because I've trained my mind to visualize certain things and build up these feelings and these knowings from visualizing something, even small things that happen in my reality. And the more you do that, the more you solidify that knowing within yourself, because a belief is what? A belief is nothing. You believe in God, right? You don't know God exists. And that's the difference between belief and knowing. You believe something exists, like God, right? But when you go to the beach, you don't believe that the water is wet. You don't believe that you're walking in sand. You don't believe that there's birds flying above you, or you don't believe that there's other people walking around you. You know those things. You know them to be true. You don't believe them. Belief is nothing. You must create something within your imagination into a knowing, not just a belief. And it says it in the Bible, the faith of a mustard seed. And a lot of people misinterpret that and they say, oh, so it's just a little bit of faith. A seed is small, right? No. A mustard seed is only conscious of being a mustard seed alone and not any other seed. That's 100% belief in something, which creates a knowing that it's true. And when you develop these skills that I'm talking about, number 1, number 2, and number 3, but mainly number 1 here and number 2, you develop your attention, mental clarity, and mental imagery. Once you have your attention developed, you can focus on and create a visual scene in your mind, all right? And you visualize something as if something that you desire to happen within, your reality in the future, and you make that in your mind. You close your eyes and you visualize this clearly with your senses, and you practice this all the time, and you develop this skill. You're now creating a knowing, okay? It's not just a belief, because you're experiencing that within your imagination. And imagination creates your simulation, your reality, what you're going to experience tomorrow. And it actually takes you to that reality, because it's the parallel realities, that coexist, an infinite amount of them coexist simultaneously right now. And that's where the subconscious mind has to meet you with. It has to show you these things that you're imagining, because you're tricking it to believe that you now have something you don't have in the previous reality that you were living in. So it has to take you there. It has to meet you there. All right. And that's what creates a knowing. That's the difference between belief and knowing. Belief means nothing. Knowing. And that's what imagination does. That's what visualization does. Mental rehearsal, mental image, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Creating a mental movie in your mind. That something is now occurring in your life. And you feel that, the acceptance of that, the natural feeling of that being now and already done, it's finished, everything's already completed, and you see that in your mind, and then you fall asleep with it. Even rehearse it throughout the day. It can work. But if you fall asleep with that at night, knowing that that is who you are now, and you already have that, the subconscious mind is impartial, it's non-selective, it just knows what you tell it from your conscious state, what you believe and know about your world and about you. That's all that matters, is about how you feel about you. That's it. And it takes you to that reality. Listen, you are living in a simulation. And if you master these skills, you can identify as someone that is a creator of the simulation. You can change anything. You can master your world, whatever situation you're in right now. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter where you are. In prison. I was in prison. I don't care what is happening with you. Right now, you can change it all. You have the privilege of changing that by identifying these things and figuring out what's going on within you, getting all instant gratification that you're like, going to a dopamine detox, doing the proper exercises that develop that part of your mind so you can hold your attention on one thing for long periods of time with that discipline, concentrated attention, and then visualizing and studying that and rehearsing that and doing that within your mind and mastering that ability. You don't even have to master it. You just focus on this for a little bit of time. And it will also develop your skills to act as if within the simulation, because once you have attention, you can now act as if you're whoever you want to be within the simulation and start changing all your daily habits and becoming a new non-negotiable version of you. Once you develop attention, listen, the sky is the limit. You're going to be able to do anything you want in the simulation without even having to visualize. First off, you're going to be able to change things. It might take a little bit more time, but you can literally identify different things within you and your world and change who you are, act as if, and become non-negotiable, and literally be that disciplined and do all these things differently and take all these things out of your life and literally become a millionaire very quickly. So you can do that, and you can also visualize, and you can speed up the process even faster by doing that. So there's two different types here. There's two different things you're going to be able to do from developing mental clarity. All right, so listen, this is the key. You are living in a simulation right now, and it's all being controlled from where? Right here, your imagination. And your attention, your mental clarity, your discipline, what you react to, all these different things are the cornerstone that create your ability to be able to use this. So what is distracting you? Is your mind not developed to where you can actually control your moods, your feelings, your imagination, your inner dialogue, what's happening? A lot of this needs to be the way the world is now. All the instant gratification, the social media, all these distractions in your world are taking that power from you. And that's the reason why your life is the way that it is and you're not at your full potential, okay? is because you haven't eliminated this stuff. You haven't developed the muscle of your mind to be able to control your attention, your mental clarity, and be able to control even during your time within the simulation, not just falling asleep and creating, imagine, relax, and visualizing, but being able to control what you react to throughout the day is all based on your mental clarity and your attention. These skills develop all of that. Your present moment awareness, you're present, you know when it happens, you're reacting negatively to something. You know that when you react negatively, it just reproduces the same thing over and over. Because why? Conflict avoided is conflict multiplied. You react negatively, you're just recreating 10 more of them, 20 more into your future. All right. But when we can control our attention, we control what we react to negatively. And now we can say, oh, no, that's happening for my benefit. Oh, no, this is just, I'm growing my wisdom from this. I'm developing my wisdom, my growth. I'm becoming someone better from these negative things. And when you do that, that's when you're controlling your attention and you become just magnificent. You become a creator and you're identifying with all this new mental images, and you can control your attention, and then you can control the simulation while you're in it during the day within the simulation with your own body. And now you can visualize at night and create different feeling states and then visualize and create all of these different things. And that's where the magic is, right? But I think all of you understand by this point, and it's ultra clear. What creates your reality is your imagination, and your attention, your mental clarity is what controls that. Without that, you can't visualize. You can't use your imagination. You can't create feeling states. Neville Goddard said, feeling is a secret. That's what you have to use, okay? To impress the subconscious mind, which is you pushed out. The subconscious mind creates a new reality for you within the simulation, but we must identify that and create that, all right? So attention, all right? Attention, guys. But I think it's ultra clear at this point, and that's where I'm gonna end this video. I love you guys. I'll see you on school. I'll see you in a live event, or I'll see you in the next YouTube video. Catch you guys later. Have a great day. I love you.